Prince Arian's life was shaped by a single prophecy whispered into his father's ear: "The prince shall die on the dawn of his 42nd year." The words bound his fate like iron chains, forging a life steeped in fear and obsession. The kingdom of Auriel, a land where time curled upon itself like a serpent devouring its tail, became a reflection of its prince's turmoil. He built a tower of golden mirrors, seeking glimpses of futures where his fate was rewritten. Yet no spell, no elixir, no divine intervention could grant him what he truly desired: certainty. As his obsession deepened, so did the distance between him and his people. Arian's father, weary from his son's self-imposed isolation, pleaded for him to embrace life rather than flee from death. But his words fell on deaf ears. On the eve of his 42nd year, Arian stood atop his tower, staring into his golden mirrors. His reflection was a ghost of who he had been, a man who had lived in the shadow of his own demise. As the first light of morning kissed the sky, a beggar appeared at the palace gates. He was old, with a back bent by the weight of years, yet his eyes held the gleam of eternity. In his hands he carried nothing but a simple lute. "Let me play for you, my prince." Arian, weary from a sleepless night, waved his hand in indifference. The beggar plucked the strings, and a melody unlike any Arian had ever heard filled the chamber. It was neither joyful nor sorrowful, neither beginning nor ending. It simply was. The music wove through the prince's soul like a river meeting the sea. For the first time, Arian let go. One by one, the golden mirrors around him cracked and fell, their illusions shattering. Arian stepped outside, breathing in the crisp morning air as though for the first time. He felt no dread, only liberation. The man who had feared death was no more. What remained was a man who lived. With his newfound understanding, Arian no longer sought to conquer time, but to dance with it. He ruled as a man unshackled by expectation. Festivals returned, and the kingdom pulsed with life once more. The beggar remained by his side, teaching him songs that echoed the eternal dance of creation and dissolution. As years passed, Arian became more than a prince. He became a storyteller, a weaver of tales that celebrated impermanence. He traveled his own kingdom, sharing his wisdom with those who clung to their own fears of loss. One day the beggar vanished, leaving behind only his lute. Carved upon it were the words, "To live is to die 1,000 times. To die is to finally live." When the day finally came for Arian's last breath, he welcomed it not as an end, but as the final note in the grand symphony of his life. And as the sun set on his final day, the people of Auriel did not mourn, they celebrated, for they knew that endings were but the beginning of something new. And so the legend of the prince who learned to dance with time lived on, whispered through generations, carried upon the wind like a song without end.